Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from northern Maine. I'm in the gun room for a reason. And what I want to say, if you're a young hunter, if you're a hunter that already knows all you want to know about guns and all that stuff, then this probably isn't for you, and probably the whole series isn't for you. But in order to shoot a deer, you have to be a good shot. What I see nowadays with what people are hunting with and stuff is they're hunting with more semi-automatics and these big firearms that belong in the military. Those aren't deer guns. That's for spray and pray. If you're a deer hunter that wants to go out and spray and pray, spray a whole bunch of bullets in the direction of your deer, that's not deer hunting. Every single deer that I have shot with one bullet. I take great pride in my shooting. I take great pride in the animal that I am hunting. They're magnificent animals. I really like wildlife, but I also like to eat them. And that's why I am a hunter, and that's why I am a fisherman. So what I'm saying is spend time at the range. Go to get yourself into a gun range, or make yourself a gun range so that you can practice. And get your gun so that it will shoot at 100 yards. It'll shoot a half-inch dot. Don't, 1 inch is all right, but you can make them shoot a half-inch. No problems. There's nothing wrong with having a deer gun that will shoot a half-inch at 100 yards. I know in the old days, and then everybody talks, if I can hit a pie plate 6 inches across, that's the kill zone. I don't hunt that way. I hunt if I want to take an ear shot. Every bear I've shot, I wouldn't say every. I shot bear behind. Most bears I try to shoot behind the ear. I did have a bear where I had to take him through the heart shot just because of circumstances that day. But if you've got a gun, I like to say you ought to be able to shoot the balls off a squirrel at 100 yards. That just means you have an accurate gun and that you are proficient with that gun. You don't have to be a spray and pray hunter where you just throw lead at the deer. If a deer is running, you never had a shot. You've already spooked that deer. It's a done deal. Don't wound him. Don't send him out, well, at least I sent some bullets his way. That is not an ethical hunter. An ethical hunter knows how to shoot his gun, he knows how to handle his gun, and he knows where his gun is shooting. So if you're that hunter, and I'm talking to you, if you're that hunter that drags his gun out the day before the deer season, blows the dust off it, and goes deer hunting opening day, you're not a deer hunter. You're not a deer hunter. Don't even call yourself a deer hunter. You're an embarrassment. Hate to say that, but that's the truth of the matter. Go to the shooting range a month ahead of time, and then just before the season, go to the range and shoot your gun. I have been sighting rifles in for 40 years. It is rare. If I have a gun that sits on the shelf from one November to the following November, it is very rare for that gun to still be on target. A lot of times they're off by 3 inches, they're off by 6 inches. I've had some guns off a foot in both directions. A foot high, a foot to the right, a foot to the left. For whatever reason, they lose their sight in the course of that year. If anybody's telling you different, they have not shot as many guns as I have shot, and they have not been shooting at the range throughout the whole year. I go to the shooting range once, twice a month, sometimes once, twice a week, and I shoot my guns. I know where my guns shoot. Not saying you have to do that, but that's a really good place to start, because half the battle is seeing the deer, and 3/4 of the battle is getting a bullet in that deer that kills him on the spot so that you do not have to chase him and he does not wound her off. Nothing I hate to hear is about people talking about deers that they lost because of a crappy shot. You never had a shot if you have to shoot at a running deer. I do not squeeze the trigger unless I have an absolute, honest to God, clean shot at that deer. I have been shooting the same rifle for more than 35 years. It is a 30-06 Remington pump. I believe that you should be hunting with no more than a 5-round cartridge in an automatic, which an automatic to me isn't a deer rifle. I know that's going to step on a lot of toes, but that's just the way it is. If you want a good, accurate gun, get yourself a bolt action. Get yourself a pump action. Bolts are better than pumps. It's just I really like my 30-06 pump. 5 shots. I can show you target after target after target with that gun that I have been shooting for more than 35 years. I have the original targets from back then when I bought the gun. I also have some factory ammunition from back then when I bought the gun. And every so many years I take a few bullets out and I go shoot them because I like to see how the factory ammunition compares to my reloads. I've been shooting the same reload in that gun for 35 years, a load that we designed 35 years ago, and it's the only load that I make for that gun. So it can be done. You can do it. And another step here, and I'll expand on this in another video. This is going to sound kind of funny, but remember, you have sometimes even when the deer's in full rut, he's coming through. He's not running. He's not spooked, but he's still coming through at a pretty good clip. He might have his nose on the ground and he's sniffing away, and all he's after and all he's thinking about is that doe. You could jump out in front of that bull in front of that rutting buck and never get his attention because he's concentrating that much on that doe that just come through. But you're going to need to find them windows. If you're sitting in a ground blind or you're sitting in a tree stand, you're going to have windows down through the woods. Or you're sitting on a stump and you can see I got a shot out that way and I got a shot out that way. So you're going to have these windows. I try to make it so I have 3 windows. The reason for 3 is I can find him in the first one. I can say, okay, he's a buck. Up here we can only shoot bucks, and that's all I want anyways. In that first window I can see he's a buck. I can probably even see if he's a shooter buck. With any luck, by the time he gets to the second window, I've got a shot. But if for whatever reason I don't get a shot in the second window, I can shoot him in the third window. And a lot of times, for me, that's about the way it happens. I'll figure out he's a shooter buck, then I'll figure out maybe in the second one where I can get him. And I'll get into that later on in another video. But here's something that really helped me. 30 years ago, I got into rabbit hunting. That sounds kind of funny, rabbit hunting and deer hunting. Well, think of it. We shot on average close to, I shot maybe 80 to 100 rabbits a year. Me and another partner, I know we went over 100. We really didn't count who got what. What we did was we kept a rabbit foot off each rabbit and we stuck it in the dog box above them. We had a little sled there, and at the end of the winter we would add up the rabbit's feet, and a lot of times it was anywhere from 80 to 120 rabbits for the course of a winter. But what rabbit hunting does for you is rabbits are just like deer. Deer come through the woods, rabbits come through the woods. You know, deer kind of run along, but every once in a while you do get that hopping deer. But rabbits, they're doing the same thing. They're either running straight through, or they're hopping, whatever. Got a couple beagles behind them, or you can jump shoot them. It doesn't really matter. Go out and kick a brush pile, get a rabbit to run, and then try to figure out how you're going to shoot him. Whether that be with a 12-gauge shotgun or with a 22 rifle. But what it is, it's great practice. Because rabbit hunting, you're doing the exact same thing as deer hunting. You're looking for the shooter windows that rabbit's coming through. A lot of times you'll see the rabbit in the first window, but you don't get a shot at him. So it forces you to practice picking out windows ahead of that rabbit to see where you can shoot, as well as timing your rifle or your shotgun to the speed of that rabbit and shooting it. So rabbits, you're allowed 4 a day, and there's lots of rabbits up here. And what that does is that gives you lots and lots of practice, actual honest to God practice at shooting a running target through a thicket. And after I did that for a few years, my deer hunting went through the roof because I could make the shot. I could make the shot. I knew when a good shot was, and I knew when a bad shot was. So when I took that over to my deer hunting, it was automatic. We know what the good shot is and the bad shot. And the other really great piece of advice that I received from he's passed away now, but from a fellow deer hunter that I really respected was, he said, as soon as you know it's a buck, he said, as soon as you know it's a buck, he said, find the little brown spot. What he was meaning by that is find the kill zone. Find where you're going to shoot that deer. And only concentrate on that spot. What he said is when you get home, after the deer is on the ground, there will be plenty of time to admire the headgear. So, and after I said, man, that makes a lot of sense. And it did make a lot of sense. I said, why didn't I ever think of that? So as soon as you know it's a shoot a buck, get that out of your mind. As quick as you can, get that out of your mind. Forget about what's on his head. You don't need to know what's on his head for headgear. You need to knock that deer down if that's the one that you've chosen to bring home. So find the kill zone, find that little brown spot in your scope, and then or your open sights, whatever it takes. Find that spot, put a bullet in it, and then look at the headgear. I realize that there's going to be some people not going to like the spray and pray, but I have listened to these stories now from other hunters that are just driving me nuts. It is not a spray and pray sport. Sight in your rifle, go to the range, practice your shooting, and then when you go out to shoot a deer, shoot him. Knock him down, bring him home, and have some deer meat on the campfire. This one is about shooting and becoming a better shooter. So you have a great night. Tag along. You might pick something up. You'll either like me or you won't. But tag along. I've got more of these videos coming out, and I will see you on the next one.